recording to the cloud. Oh my goodness. We are so live right now, Leah.
I'm
And
so excited.
I know. And I know this is your first time with me, and you didn't think you were going to have to dance into our conversation, but you
I
do.
did not.
Oh, here we go. Come on, y'all. Get with it. Oh.
The chair dance.
You did good, Leah. You did fantastic. I see folks back there too. Hey, Scott, Gabby, I saw your moves. You're working it. Sarah, you guys are working it. Thanks so much for being here with us today. If it's your first time joining, I'm Cesar Cervantes. I'm a speaker coach and speech writer, and I founded Top Talks, where we help people land and deliver TEDx talks and keynote speeches. And I'm just thrilled today to have Leah Woodford here and to have a conversation. Leah and I just happened to come into contact recently. She reached out. I want to tell you a little bit about her because her background is just incredible. She runs the Speaker Life Summit and also Speaker Life Magazine. And she has just an incredible background. She's been a journalist or has a media experience across, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, Amazon Prime. She's been a professional speaker since 2007, and she recently invited me on the Speaker Life Summit or the speak. Well, yeah, I'm going to be at her
Yes,
summit.
you are.
I was also on her, I guess we'll call it like a studio podcast,
Yeah,
which is so cool. I want to share the image with folks here real quick because your setup was so cool. Let me take them over here on
sure.
my screen, and I'll show you all what she did.
I just wanted people to know just how awesome you are, Caesar.
Oh, thank you so much. Look at this. We look good. I feel
Yeah,
like
we
we
do.
Yay, that setup was brilliant. And she's going to be essentially posting and cutting up all of this content. And she's going to show us today how we can take our messages and also just create a media brand out of it. So she's going to be drawing from her experience as a journalist, but also then CEO of Speaker Life and everything that she's built there as well. So without further ado, folks, join me in welcoming Leah Woodford coming to the stage.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you guys. Well, Caesar, I'm going to tell the backstory because we had dinner before we filmed the podcast, but I have a goal in 18 months to write a book and do a TED Talk. And I research everything for SEO, for AEO, which, if you don't know what AEO is, it's basically search engines for AI. And I put in all my search parameters, and I said I wanted to partner with somebody so that they could be a regular and that their content would land in both the magazine. This is the magazine. Yes, it's digital and print. Um, the
Chris
magazine, the
Voss.
podcast, the YouTube channel, and all the social media platforms. And Caesar's name came up, and I did not know him, but I started researching him, and I saw so many of his clients, and I saw how much he cared for his clients, and what we're all looking for, results, right? And so I reached out to him, and he didn't know who I was, but I sent him information and I said, "Look, I'd love to have you on the podcast." And then we built a relationship. I believe if you provide value for somebody up front, then collaborations can happen.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. And it was so cool that I learned something, folks. Apparently, Gemini, Grok, and ChatGPT and
They love
Claude,
you.
they know me, and that's cool. That's great. And I think that's really, well, first of all, I do care and I love what I do. And at the same time, I also try and just post consistently and add value online into, what I know and talk about. And so I think that consistency over years is also part of, those results, right? Because those, ChatGPT is still pulling from the internet, right? And everything that's posted on it. So, well, Leah, did I miss anything in terms of your introduction? Anything else that you want to share with folks on this call about yourself?
Um, I'm going to say one thing. Yes, I have worked on all the broadcast stations and had an Amazon Prime show. I created Speaker Life magazine in 2019 when COVID hit. Remember that? We couldn't go anywhere. My speaking engagements were canceled, and I thought, how am I going to re-engage? Once they're open. So I started creating the magazine, and trust me, it didn't look like this in the beginning. Really humble beginnings, but I started sending them out to event planners because I've always believed if you can build relationships and show the value not only for yourself but really more importantly for them, then
Mm,
wonderful things happen. So it started with the magazine, and then I realized, I don't know about you guys, but we all have to post on the internet. We always have to post on social media, and it's exhausting. That content creation hamster wheel. It's like, what am I going to post? What am I going to post? And then I thought, okay, I already have to create content for the magazine. How can I do it all at one time?
mm,
So what I do before the camera ever starts rolling, I know exactly what I'm going to post. It's SEO'd, AEO'd, the story's written, but I can take one piece of content like Caesar, and that's going to go into a LinkedIn article. That's going to go to a daily post on LinkedIn for that week. It's going to go to Instagram. It's going to go to YouTube. It's going to the podcast. It's also going into a print magazine because we took his photographs in studio. So it's actually going to the magazine. I take that one piece of content, throw it into AI, but in my voice, and then it goes everywhere.
mm.
So I am constantly on brand, but more importantly, it's not about me. It's about sharing information that's going to help people like yourself get on more stages. So it's taken me off the hamster wheel so I can post cute videos with my dogs or hiking in Colorado because I'm not constantly on that creation hamster wheel. And it was really stressful for me, you know?
Yeah.
And so now
So
I
Leah,
can have fun.
so let's back up a little bit into so you were a speaker to begin,
Yeah.
and that's something you did and decided that you wanted to create something for others, like a give back to the speaker community. There was something missing for you in your experience, maybe with other speaker organizations, et cetera. Could you tell us about that?
Oh, yeah. I can definitely. I don't know about you guys, but as a new speaker, I was so frustrated. I mean, there's content over here. You spent 20,000 over here, 5,000 over here. Everything was piecemealed. I couldn't find one consolidated place for information on not only how to construct a speech, but how to get on stages, how to market yourself. Oh, you need to create something other than a speech because if you're only speaking, that's only one stream of income. And I did what a lot of creators do. I couldn't find it, so I built it. And that's where my media background kind of came into play. I'd been doing television, local television for every Monday and Friday for, I don't know, 20 plus years and wrote 4 columns. I wrote for everybody else, and you don't own that content. So I just took what I knew and created what I couldn't find. And it was a way for me to meet people like Caesar. I've interviewed Chris Voss, Ed Milet. It allows me to get into bigger rooms and build relationships, but it also allows me to give really great information that you're probably not going to get anywhere else.
Yeah. I love it. Okay, cool. All right, well, let's jump right into it in terms of, we have a bunch of speakers and aspiring folks in
Yay!
here who are building it, and it's coming together. Some of them already have their TEDx talks, and some are building their keynotes or working towards their TEDx talks. Um, and so, what we want to do now is just kind of walk through folks what it would look like to take their message, their content from their talks, and help them kind of, put it into a package to then start getting it out there so that we can build some kind of brand around it. And maybe we start with what is a media brand? What does that mean to you, Leah?
A media brand is something when people look at your website, your social media, everything needs to be consistent. And this is the problem that I see with most people. They've got one thing on LinkedIn, they've got another thing on social media, and there's no consistency. Event planners are not only looking at your demo reel, but they're looking at your social media. And if it's saying one thing and your website's saying another, and how many times have you gone to a website, and it's happened to me before I got clarity, people are looking at your website trying to figure out what you do, right? So, really honing in on your message and showcasing what you do. I'm going to recommend for Instagram that you have two. I have two. I have the Real Speaker Life, which Caesar's going to be on. And then I have Leah Woodford, which I put some business stuff on, but it's hiking, it's lifestyle, it's my life. So you want to incorporate in a little bit, but you really want to really keep your business separate and consistent. So people,
Yeah.
there's no brand confusion.
I think that's a good point, and sometimes it's really challenging. I know it has been for me, and trying to figure out, okay, do you do multiple things and just have different channels, or should it all really be kind of one thing? So, for example, um, if you have like one of the most challenging things for folks is to sort of pick a lane because they help multiple people, right? So maybe you can help us with this. If we're thinking about our website and having one kind of clear message, even though we might help and talk about different things, how would you guide us to have clarity across and clear messaging across?
Well, first of all, get clear in your messaging. Who are you? Who do you serve? What problem do you fix? Why should people work with you? And that should be represented really clearly. If they can't pick that up in 3 minutes, then you're struggling with brand identity. And if you're like me and you have a lot of hobbies and you have a lot of different skill sets, I'm old, so I have a lot of different skill sets. I had to go back and, clarity is really good for other people, but I had to get clarity for myself, you know.
Mhm.
And really, speaking is what I want to do, but it's really where I want to help people. And so I had to get clear on that. What's the best use of my time where I can be everywhere, but not killing myself trying to get there? And
Right.
so the messaging is always great because it's always on brand.
Yeah.
A TEDx talk is one of the biggest searched items. It's one of the quickest ways to propel your speaking business. And so I really wanted that. So now I'm going to have about 15 different pieces of content with Caesar that he's going to have access to, but it's going to go everywhere. Starting
Mhm.
today, tomorrow, the YouTube channel and the podcast go up. So we go based on Instagram times, LinkedIn times. That's what we do because we want it to land. We want it to land. So,
Yeah, so what you've built is kind of like a central, so everything stems from the studio podcast, right? And
yep.
then you can branch it out from there. So friends, if there's anybody out there who's struggling a little bit with having like clear messaging across, and because you solve different problems perhaps, if in the chat you want to ask the question, hey, here's what I do, here's what I'm struggling with, how would you communicate this, or how should I think about this? pop that in the chat and we can pitch it to Leah and see if she has some thoughts on it. One of the things that I find, valuable, especially, for speakers when we think about messaging is the first is for me is that you want to think about how people will first engage with you. So sometimes we're thinking about how we help them later. Like a very common way for speakers to continue to help people is you speak, but then you're really after kind of consulting work with
Right,
certain organizations, right?
right,
And so speaking is the way in to those consulting packages, and they might be more complex and not necessarily um, like the same expertise. They might be layered.
right.
So thinking about how you first want to engage people, what the signature, what you're most known for, where's your greatest credibility, and what you get booked, what's working. And that is what you lead with, and then you serve people brilliantly. You go and you knock it out of the park, and then those offers are ready to go. But the messaging, the clarity of the messaging is sort of like, we'll call it like the tip of the spear, right? The
Yeah.
thing that comes in contact first.
Well, and I
Is that
like to research too, Caesar. So my clients are speakers, coaches, entrepreneurs, and book authors because they all have the goal of getting on the stage. But, how do I market myself to be seen, to get on stages? But then again, just like you said, course creation or consulting, because speaking is great, but it's only one income,
hmm Yeah,
and
good.
so I encourage my clients to, based on that one message that you have on the stage, create something very relevant that ties into that. Like I talk about visibility, being in the media, how to be visible. I've got different packages on how to be visible, how to be seen, heard, and booked. Does that make sense?
Love it. Absolutely. I just came in contact with a speaker. Her name is Judy Haller, and it's such a cool last name. And she recently reinvented her branding, and her the messaging across platforms now is "Holler at Your Life." And she wrote a
I love
book
that.
called "Holler at Your Life." And oh, somebody said Judy is my homegirl in there. Let's see. Yes, that's right, Kathy. And what's so interesting to me is that sometimes the thing that we take for granted the most, or the thing that we say a bunch, we don't even think of as the thing that could be our lead. And so what I might recommend is kind of going out there, looking at your content already, looking at things that have already resonated or that align or encapsulate maybe things that you think are too common or that just couldn't be the thing, right? And they might be right under your nose. And for Judy, this reinvention is really exploding and working for her. And what makes it so cool is it's built in as her name, of course, but then it says what it is, which is basically about personal growth and your life. And you could have different buckets under that. She's a motivational style speaker. And so holler at your life, like, I mean, that also builds curiosity and it's cool. And so that's the kind of thing where you could say, I could build a brand under that. My buckets could fit under that. And it draws people in and tells them what it is. It's one of the hardest things I think to do is to have something punchy and short that really speaks to what you do, but also allows other things to flow from it.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. I mean, when we were at dinner, I told you that I wanted to do a TED Talk. You guys, he just really tweaked it. So amazing. Do you remember that? Because I want to be funny. It's kind of a serious topic, but I wanted it to be funny. And
Right.
it's important because you're doing your day-to-day stuff, and some of the things that we do, people think are amazing. And to us, oh, this is just what I do every day, and we minimize some of the things that we do.
I agree. I also wanted to show folks real quick about the summit that you're putting on that is really like right now, folks, NS the National Speaker Association is having their national summit, which hey, no knock, it's great. They they've been around forever. They do a lot for the community. It's also not for everybody, and it's not as accessible financially for some folks to go to their national
They don't have
conference.
my lineup, Caesar. They don't have you.
And just Leah's doing something amazing with this summit, and I want to invite you folks to look at it,
Just hit the
speakerlifemedia.com.
summit. Just scroll down a little bit and they can
Yeah,
see.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely. So it's happening, in January, and or you want to see the speakers. So Chris Voss is going to be there. Lisa Guerrero is going to be there. Dave Sanderson, who was on the flight, the Miracle on the Hudson. Um, Chris Lee, Matt Litz. Caesar's name will be in here at some point, which I think is
yes,
pretty
it's
cool.
actually already gone to them. You're going to be on there. I've already put you on the flyer, but I can't I don't do websites, so he's already on the flyer. And we also have Nick Hutchinson, who's also he has Book Thinker. So we have some pretty big people coming into
It's
this. But if you notice, I have kept the price point low for I don't want price to be a barrier.
Yeah,
And
it's only a few $100,
yeah,
folks.
I
So
mean,
it's an easy in. It's in Scottsdale, which it's beautiful there. I just got to visit. I don't think I've been in Scottsdale since I was a kid, and so
well, you love it
anyway,
in January.
yeah, I
Well,
just
I
wanted to
guess
plug
not so
that real
much.
quick because it's an incredible opportunity, and Leah's just it's really just about giving back to the speaker community, and so it's an awesome opportunity. Okay, Leah, you wanted to share some things too with us just about content in general. So, when we think about building the brand and the access that we have to social media, so I recently posted something on LinkedIn on Thursday or Friday,
Hmm.
and it was my first quote unquote viral LinkedIn post. And so it has over like 100,000 impressions, over 200 reposts, I don't know, 900 some reactions, which is cool. And what I don't
Show
think
us
that I
that
post,
post.
yeah, I
Show
don't
us
think I
that
post
post.
anything special. What I consistently post is lifting people up, celebrating people, and speaking opportunities. And so this happened to be an opportunity from TED which is they do educator talks and they have like a little department that just focuses on educator talks, primarily K through 12. And they have a program where you can join it and then they help you create a talk. You do an educator talk and then they send it out or they make it available to all the TEDx organizers.
I love it.
And so there's a workshop that's coming up where you can learn more about it. Well, I had never heard of it. And I just posted and I was like, whoa, this is cool. And I think because it was specific, it said exactly who it's for,
Hmm.
exactly what the impact could be and the access could be, and then gave you something actionable to do. And at the end, specifically, of course, I said, if you know an educator, tag them here. And boy, did they. And so having that built-in engagement, I didn't ask for anything, right? It was just value add, it was just serving. And I think you just have to consistently do what is on brand for you, add value, and then there's some luck in it, right? You got to pay attention to what works, but then there's a little bit of luck in it. And so my
Well,
first viral LinkedIn post.
well, congrats. I think you should. How many of you guys want to see that post? I know I do. I want to see that post. Why don't you show it to
Oh,
us?
you want me to prove it to
No,
you?
I already know because I checked you out. But here's what I want you to do because you've already had success. I want you to figure out how to do it again because
Yeah, so
what
let's
works?
let's look at this because I do think it's a really cool segue to or aligned with what we're trying to do here, which is to say what's on brand for you and how do you consistently do that so that you get results. And I will say that there are incredible results from just adding value. So
Yes.
I added over 500 followers from this post that people just decided to follow me. I had over 100 people send me a
Wow, look at that.
connection
That is
request.
impressive. Oh my
So look at
goodness.
that.
Oh my God.
A
I'm
hundred
so proud of you.
thousand impressions, which I looked it up. Viral on LinkedIn is like anything over 50 to 60,000. 100,000 is undeniably viral, says ChatGPT. And
Yes.
so very cool. And then and I actually had to update the post because there was more information that I received about how to get into the Educator Talks program first. So I edited the post and I said, hey, this was revised because I needed to do X, Y, and Z. So I learned something, I was transparent, and I updated it. And yeah, I just think, look, um, I have different offers that aren't connected to TEDx, right? And TED. But for me, this is still where I help people predominantly in the TEDx space. And so when I think about like an ideal post, that's the entry point. Folks are often building their TEDx talks and then moving to keynote and building their business from there. And there's
Absolutely.
other ways to support them. But this is a perfect example of like tip of the spear. Here's the audience that I serve. I know a lot about this community. Here's what you can do. Go take action. And within that value add, there's a ton of people that then say, hey, can you help me with X, Y, and Z? Because you've positioned yourself as someone not only with credibility and expertise and transparency, but also as someone who can help them. So
Well, that's how I found you because you were positioned as the TEDx expert.
it's It's cool. And you also learn a lot the more that you start giving and adding value and just creating content. One thing I learned, I'll just, share like, going viral is not the answer for everything, right? There are things that come from it that are great. And then there are also things like people in the comments are like, this isn't real, and they'll
Yeah.
start accusing you of things. And you have to be prepared for all of that. But I do think, and also I don't think I don't think that you go into it going like, every post has to be viral or that's the goal. I actually think that it though the possibility of it going viral comes from the consistency and the alignment with your branding and what you talk about and what value you add.
Well said. And um, I'm going to say being visible and being viral are two different things. And I've met a lot of influencers, and the problem is, yeah, they're getting the posts and the likes, but it's not going anywhere, if you know what I mean, just because you're
Hmm.
liked. And I used to work a lot with automotive. You know, Lexus has been a sponsor of mine for 16 years. They've let go of all their influencers because it's not relating to sales. So
Hmm.
being visible to your target demographic is way more being visible and consistent. with your target demographic is going to be it's going to move the ball farther down the field. Now I'm going to ask you guys something. What do you think a brand is? Because most people don't really know what a brand is, and I'd like to just tell you what it really is. It isn't a color palette or a logo or a name. Those are brand assets. A
Mm.
brand is perception. What does your target audience perceive when they see you? Who are you known for? Like, you positioned yourself amazingly well for TEDx and as a speaker coach, Caesar.
Oh, thank you.
Branding
Yeah.
is
So
really perception, not what you're saying, but how people are perceiving you.
yeah, and I think then, we won't always know that, right?
No.
So Leah, how do we find that out? Like, how do we go and do the research, the work on how we're being perceived?
You know, I really like to do small groups, and I like to, like, if I'm testing new content, I love feedback because sometimes what we're saying isn't what people are hearing. Um, in fact, I used to say media, I was a media personality, and yes, I am, but really, I'm more of a visibility expert because I'm not working on broadcast anymore. I'm creating multiple channels, but it's creating visibility. And I think that's what people are looking for is, at least for what I do, speaking is a really competitive field. How do I get known and booked? It's just your brand. Is it resonating with event planners? What are you putting out there and what are they perceiving? So feedback is the best way.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, one of the ways that you can do that is simply by saying like, "Hey friends, I've made some edits to my website or this page or whatever." And depending on your community, you'll know who to ask. But I like to create polls and give options and sort of choices and say like, "Hey, I'm considering one, two, and three." And that gives people an easy way to play the game and to see, what's getting scored, which people love to do. And some people are like, well, what if somebody has a great idea and I don't give them the option? In some polls, it lets them add something. And what I've also found is that folks will always add things that you didn't ask for. So you don't have to worry
True.
about that.
Everybody's got an opinion.
Fantastic. All right, friends, we wanna take some time here for some questions as well. So anything related to building, branding or using media for your speaking, let's go ahead and take some questions now for Leah. She's a wealth of knowledge, and so I want to be able to give you folks that one-on-one time. Kathy says, yes, when we are making transitions. Yes, yeah, exactly.
So I'm just going to say, guys, when you start, you don't have to do what I'm doing in a studio. Start small. You don't have to do a big investment, even Zoom calls, but just start planning strategy. And when you play with other people that, like Caesar and I have the same target demographic, but we don't do the same thing. So we can play in the sandbox together, and it's a lot more fun. And I think
True.
Gabby
Hell,
has a question.
hey, Gabby, go ahead and come off mute. Yeah.
Hi,
Okay,
Gabby.
perfect. Hello, Leah and Caesar. Thank you so much for this. Okay, so I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. And the reason why is because you hit the nail on the head when we talked about diversification, because I feel like I was involved in too many things. So,
Mhm.
just to give you some context, I am a speaker. I speak specifically on kindness in the workplace, compassionate kindness. And I'm also a speech coach. So, I help leaders craft their signature talk. In addition, I'm an event planner. I plan tons of events. Ultimately, this goes under the umbrella of storytelling. I help people tell their story, whether it's in an event, in a speech, or okay. So I'm currently working with a branding manager because I recognize that I need to be a little more focused in my planning. So that is underway. But I also want to work in what you do, Leah, into my marketing plan. And
Hmm.
so, but how do I know what angle I should be focused on so I'm not feeling so overwhelmed? Should I be looking at companies hiring me to speak, or should I be looking at helping leaders develop their signature docs, or should I be going down the road of planning and helping charities and not-for-profits, for example, tell their stories? I just feel like I almost don't even know where to start. And if media were to call me, I would be like, I don't know what to talk about because there's so many things.
Well,
Could
and
we,
what are you passionate about?
I'm passionate about people sharing their voice for change.
Okay.
Gabby, could we, I want to some help framing the question again. So, help me understand, what is the outcome you're seeking by trying to pick a certain path?
Sorry, it's raining really hard here in Toronto, so I'm going to turn up my volume because I actually didn't even hear. I
Oh.
see Linda nodding. Do you hear that rain, Linda? I don't know if you're here too. Sorry. What was that question, Caesar?
Yeah, so what is the outcome you're seeking by trying to pick a path? Help me understand frame the question again for me.
What's the outcome? I'm not sure I understand your question. What's the outcome that I'm looking to?
So maybe just help me. Could you say the question again?
For
And
sure.
mhm.
So when we look at Leah, your expertise and helping people get media exposure and the AEO, I recognize that there needs to be a focus on where you want to go. Think from the
Right.
place of the goal. How do I know? Because I have like three distinct areas of love. How do I know which path I should go through? Or do I find one that encompasses all?
Well,
For
and
the searchability of it, Gabby, is that what you're saying?
I think so, right? Because the searchability or appearing
Or
on media, all the things that we're talking
got it.
about today. Yeah. Thank you for
can I
clarifying.
just jump in real quick? I was right where you are because I started with the magazine, and a lot of people are visual.
Yeah.
And so it was Speaker Life magazine. I still have that, but now I became Speaker Life Media. And
Mm,
media encompasses a lot of different things. So I have the summit, I have the podcast, I have the YouTube. So figure out which one's your parent and which one. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do.
I think, and I'm going to encourage all of you guys to do a podcast. Did you know that there are 5 million podcasters, but most of them quit before their eighth podcast? And you
Wow.
only have to get to 5,000 podcasts a month to have a top podcast that is pushed out. So, Caesar, I don't know why you're not doing a podcast, dude.
Well, so here's my take on it, Gabby. So, and this is a great question because how I understand your question is if I'm looking to focus my energy on an offer or positioning myself, which one should I pick based on what might get picked up more by media or like what people are looking for or searching for? Yeah.
Yes.
Um, so the path to that, I think the first question is the most important, which is what are you excited about? Because what will show up, and maybe you will say I'm equally excited, but what will show up when it gets hard is still the love of like, this is what I like to talk about, this is what I do. I can keep messaging this, even if there's little results from it that I can see in social media, etc. So that really is the first question to ask, I think. The second question is what differentiates you and your messaging in that lane from what else is out there? Because you want to speak to the way that you talk and the way that you serve people is different than other people. And so that messaging, I think, is more important than asking whether it should be this bucket, or this bucket. Um, but the third thing I will say is that you can see what is more searched and what is trending or in demand. However, once you get that data, you're sort of chasing something, right? That already is existing, that people are taking advantage of, that have been building up to that point. So I actually think it makes more sense to do the thing that is the most exciting, and it's sort of cyclical. It'll find you.
Hmm.
And
Thank you. That's
let
great.
me just
Yeah.
say this too, Gabby. As much as I love the podcast and stuff I do, there's something, print just, it's just a cachet, I think. And I've been blessed to work with like Caesar and Chris Voss and these big names. And honestly, it's the magazine that gets more. And I asked Ed, why did you say yes? And he said, I love the permanence.
Hmm.
you know it's still my passion because I got my first magazine when I was 15. It was Seventeen's magazine, so it was just, it invokes
Yeah.
all the senses. And I know a lot of people say they have magazines, they have e-zines. Now ours is digital and print too, but it was a way for me to get the magazine in more hands of people too.
Okay.
So the magazine is still
Fantastic.
my passion.
I want to get us to the next
Great.
question. Thanks so much, Gabby, for the
Thank you to
question.
you
I
both. Thank you. Thank you.
hope that was helpful. Okay, Kathy says the transition or parallel of working with businesses and when we have a bigger message for people in their lives. So what I've helped businesses do, what I want to help people do. What's the path or how much to give each target? So, Kathy, are you with us? Could you come off of mute? And
Yeah.
there you go.
Yes, thank you. So, in a nutshell, and Judy is a friend. It's how I spent a lot of my speaking career targeting businesses and working with leaders, and that's been fun. And I use my background as a leader, but also, 25 years of comedy, helping them think different and be less afraid. But I realize I'm more interested in the personal development and personal growth, um, a bigger message. And I realize I most of the if you look at my website has been leaders and teams. And nothing wrong with that, pays the bills. I'm finding that I'm attracted to this bigger kind of like life thing. And I'm not sure how much of messaging to give this, what that right ratio is, how to think about going bigger and still have that
Mm.
other target market included. So I'm just kind of thinking through what that might look like, or,
Mm.
as I evolve, because I just get more excited about, like, every time I speak to leaders and teams, it's people coming up to me saying, I need that for my life. I'm like, yes, because we don't target leaders and teams, we target people. They're
Yeah.
still people. But it's a different freedom when you're targeting individuals versus trying to get budget and speak the KPI language that you need to for like leaders and teams. So that's what I'm curious about. And I've been on a lot of podcasts, actually, Leah, that were leaders and teams oriented. And I'm kind of like, I'm kind of bored with it. And I also am very, as Caesar can attest to, I'm very like, I say what I think. I've been out of corporate for a while, so I don't feel constrained, but I'm not excited as much by that message. And I'm more interested in that more life. Like, what would your life look like if you stopped playing, like supporting cast energy? What would that look like? So that's the message,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure, since I have those two target markets, how to split that energy or that media attention, and but maybe have it look like it's all one umbrella a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me add something real quick, and then I want to get Leah's take. So what I'm hearing is that you're looking for some feedback on how to get some attention when there's split audiences, but also there's a transition happening, and maybe how can you leverage the transition? I'd like to speak to the latter because I
The
think that,
umbrella and an umbrella so
um,
that it's clear. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
You can speak to two things under the same umbrella.
got it.
Yeah.
Um, I still would say this because there is a shift, a change in messaging, or you're thinking about it, you're
Mm.
exploring it, it's not quite clear to you. I think the instinct often is that we don't want to say anything until it's done or it's clear or the website's new and it's perfect,
That's
right?
not me.
It right, and it shouldn't be. But well, I guess what I'm saying is, I actually think part of the visibility is in saying, "Hey, I'm exploring this. I'm not quite sure. Does this land with folks? I mean, you could ask that question publicly. You could talk about that, this sort of split and ask questions, and people would engage with that as content, right? Because that's real. So that's my first thing, is to say, hey, I'm going through kind of like there's a transition for me, like I'm thinking about this, and then know which audience you want to ask something of, and then ask it in sort of a more vulnerable way. Does that resonate with you, Kathy?
Yeah, I think that's right. And I am the whole brand really for me is, as you know, Caesar, is like make the mess, be imperfect, figure it out as you go. That's
Yeah,
really
right.
that is who I am. So I don't mind
Yes.
making the mess. The question is really more like which mess to make to whom, and
Yeah.
but that's okay. I think that works. I think you're right.
What do you think, Leah?
You know, I just interviewed Chris Lee, who's one of the top speaker agents in the country, and he only does corporate. And a funny thing that he told me was, I am looking for more speakers who can infuse comedy because there's a difference between going to a conference that, like I'll just say Speaker Life Summit, where you're going because you want to go versus one where you have to go. And so they are looking for people like you and Caesar that can entertain because
Mhm.
these people are forced to go.
Yeah.
So I say play with that a little bit. Don't quit your day job. But in the meantime, while you're seeing if some of these jokes land and everything else, start quietly building the other. I think there's a way where they can peacefully coexist.
Oh yeah, no, I'm let me be clear. I'm a full-time speaker. I left tech many years ago. And so my talks are all using improv and comedy thinking.
Oh,
So
good.
I've built a business and my book is all about improv using it. So I mean, that's what I do. I think the question was is do I think I'm more attracted to lifting individuals just as much as I am leaders and teams. Like let's look about applying this to your life, not just to your work. So I think that's the
Yes.
transition.
What
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
started working, maybe partnering up with people who are already creating summits or retreats for people in transition that are looking to, for personal growth and changing their life, and maybe getting on some of those podcasts?
Yeah. So, Kathy, you're also saying like you've built your messaging around B2B and not B2C.
Correct. Correct.
Right.
So I have had success as a speaker in that field. So it's not new to me. It's more like I've been doing that, been doing that, loved it, published, done
Yeah.
a lot of keynotes. I'm now at this other space of like what's next? And I really am
Yeah.
more excited by seeing people in their life. Think,
So,
yeah,
yeah. So, what I'll add then is like you keep doing what you're doing, and then you sprinkle in messaging that is more directed at the individual. So, this is actually a case where I think you're not changing necessarily
no,
the umbrella. You're changing who you're talking to under the umbrella.
yes,
And that's easier actually, because that's just about creating different content and segmenting. So if it was your email list, you want to segment it. If it's social media, and it's the same thing you always talk about, you're just talking to an individual and coming to a different pain point than you would an organization's pain point. That's how I would look at it.
yes, agreed. I think there's a lot of thank you, Caesar. I think that's
Yeah.
helpful. I just wanted to make sure that the B2B brand that I've built is flexible enough to go, oh, and also this isn't about just work, this is about your life, you know? So that's without it looking like a tack on, you know, like
Yeah.
B2B and your life. I want it to be sort of a
Yeah.
bigger umbrella, but we can chat more about that later. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
No. That's good. Last thing I'll say is think of a TED Talk where you start in like you have a niche, and then you open up to the universal.
Mm.
So within your messaging, you people for example, like people within organizations could also see themselves as being supported by you individually.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so it's sort of like, here's what I do, here's in my organizations. And also, by the way, people find that this applies to X, Y, and Z. All
Thank you.
right, you bet. We can take probably one or two more. Let's look at David here. David says, I'm a marketer helping a friend expand his offering and create additional revenue streams beyond speaking engagements. You mentioned using the speaking engagement as an entry point into an ongoing customer relationship. What are some of the strongest paths to explore, such as workshops, consulting, digital products, or online learning? And how do you determine which one is the best fit? Hey, that's great question. We could probably do a whole hour on this,
I know,
but
right?
or more. But I'll give my quick thoughts, and then Leah, you jump in. Okay, so you have a marketer friend. Well, the challenge here is that it's very dependent on what you already speak about, offer, and who your audience is and what they would be served by. But I'm going to speak to this more big picture and tell you just kind of what I have found to be true. So um, I think that when you speak, um, your stories tell how you work with people, right? That you don't have to say, here's the thing, bada bing, bada boom. People will see themselves in it, in your stories, and naturally want to work with you and be drawn to that. That does not mean that you don't create an invitation. You absolutely do. And again, depending on the audience, the venue, what they're there for, it could be a direct invitation. It might be more of a stage where you can sort of say, this is the next step, let's go. Or often it's really inviting them to be served by you more. And so sometimes that's a freebie and like, get the book or the worksheet or whatever the thing is, and then you capture an email address and you move them from there. One of the most common things for speakers is to want to do consulting work for organizations. I have a client, for example, who his whole thing was helping school districts create curriculum for specific kind of things that he would solve problems on. And there's this whole market that like people didn't really know that existed, where like you can create curriculums. And that's a contract and a consulting gig that he gets after going in and speaking to the teachers, administrators, sometimes students, etc. And so for him, the speaking gig and the payment from that is not nearly as important as being able to work with them to create curriculum. And that's essentially a consulting gig. Those, I would say, those are probably the ones that are most common that speakers aspire to. The reason is that those contracts maybe start at around 20K, right? Depending on who you're working with and kind of go up from there. So beyond that, I would say it gets really sort of dependent on what you do and what you're willing to, or what you can actually deliver on. And that's really the primary question that I'd be asking is what are you best in? How do you serve people best? And what's going to get them the outcome? So, Leah, what are your thoughts?
Well, it's kind of vague. I don't know what he speaks on, and it's corporate, so that could be a bunch of different things. But to tag on to what I think, yes, everything Caesar said. I've had clients that have gone into create content and trainings and license that over and over and over again. So, not knowing what the topic is or who the target demographic is, it makes it a little bit dicey for me.
I,
Um,
if you want a little bit more info, I can give it to you. It's
yeah,
integration of creative teams, helping them work more efficiently, and
okay,
I know it can lead into more, you know, workshops as well as other additional things that could be their applications. There could be online tools, a variety of different things, and it's like,
sure.
how is the best way to leverage and spend money to make this most effectively to generate the most revenue? as well as you had talked about all of these different channels in terms of social and building things along those lines. I'm just wondering, because I'm trying to just help him come up with how do we go from here? You've got something fantastic. How do we crystallize it into a better offer that targets and generates you revenue?
Right.
Well, I think it reminds me of one of my clients who does retreats. You know, after he's spoken at a conference, and it's a conversation that he has up front with the event planner and the decision maker. If this goes well and there's a lot of engagement, would you be interested in hosting a retreat for your leaders so we can do some? He teaches adults how to play together, basically. Um, but it's really successful. I mean, it's really successful, but I think I still need a lot more
Of
context
course,
before
of
I could
course.
really, but I think everything that Caesar said and building the relationship with the event planner and the decision maker and really knowing what they want and then tailoring your program to that is the best advice I could give you.
Thank you. I
Thanks so much,
appreciate
Lee, for that. David, thanks so much for the question. We have to wrap here, folks. I know Prerna has a question pending, but maybe you can connect with Leah offline here, Prerna, and she can help you, of course. I just want to give another huge thank you to Leah for joining us and supporting this community. Please, folks, engage with her, find her on all the social media things, but also just go to the Speaker Life Summit page. And if you want to join us, please do. It's going to be an incredible value add. It really is Leah just giving back. And like as I look more into what she's built and what she's doing, it's to serve. And so it just brings me joy to lift her up and what she's doing. And so please engage with her. She's a wealth of knowledge. Let's give her one more round of applause, please, for Leah Woodford.
And I have
Leah
one
Woodford.
request. How many of you guys would like to, our fall edition of Speaker Life magazine, which will be coming out in September, will be featuring the amazing Caesar. And if you go to speakerlifemagazine.com, you'll get the free subscription. But you'll actually get to see what we're doing and what we're talking about and how that plays out.
What's the link on that? What is it? Speaker Life?
Speakerlifemagazine.com. You just sign up and then you're brought in, and it changes. We do these quarterly, and the next one, I think it's going to have Jim Quick on it. It's either going to have Lisa Guerrero or Jim Quick, but Caesar will also be right here talking about TEDx Coach.
I haven't seen the photo yet, so I may just say, no, sorry, can't do it. But
Actually, you
oh,
have seen the photos because
oh,
you've
have
got
I?
the photo gallery, so you will.
Okay,
You will be in it, but I
I'm
think that
blushing.
Caesar's amazing, and if you'd like a free copy of the magazine, by the way, they're always free. This is part of my give back.
Thank you so much, Leah. One more time for Leah Woodford, everybody.
it.
Let's do this thing. Oh yeah. Speaker Live, get your magazine.
Woo! Oh, I want to see you on stand up, Caesar. Oh my God. Thank you so
Thank you
much,
so
my
much.
friend.
We'll see
Bye,
you. Take care,
everybody.
everybody. Bye.